Welcome to the question of the day. Today's question is from Mike in Minneapolis, and Mike asks, "How do I make complicated technical topics simple?" Great question, Mike. This happens to me all the time. Every time I talk to IT, if I and I'm not dumb, all right? Like I'm pretty techie. I get how things work. I don't live in IT. I don't live in technical. And so often when I'm talking with anyone from IT, it's usually because I have a problem, right? And so I'm asking about the problem. I'm trying to describe it, and I'm describing it probably in very simple terms that make them giggle, right? Like, well, it makes a ding sound and it, like, whatever. And so they throw back questions that make me pause, right? They'll ask me questions that contain words like cache, cache, bandwidth, latency, cookies, cloud, OS. Like I don't know what most of that stuff is. Some of it I got like a cloud. Like it's all up in the cloud. Like but I don't really know what that is, right? And so one time though, somebody did explain to me what cache was. Cache, they said, is like a junk drawer of things that makes your computer go faster. And that clicked. That clicked with me because I have a junk drawer and it's full of things like scissors and pens and tape, like things that make my life easier, things that make my life go faster because I'll quickly need a pen, boom, in the junk drawer. I need to cut something, boom, in the junk drawer. Like it's that junk drawer that makes my life go faster, makes my life easier. But sometimes that junk drawer gets a little too clogged, right? When I pull it open, there's too many pens, there's too many scissors, too much stuff piled in there, and it gets stuck. And so you can have too much stuff in that junk drawer. And as that concept was explained to me, like it clicked, I know exactly what cache is. And now I know when my computer's malfunctioning and they say, "Hey, have you cleared your cache?" They're saying, "Hey, your junk drawer is too full. Clean up the junk drawer." I get it now. So whatever you sell, like you know all about it. You're the expert and you should know. But know that others don't know and most don't care. Like these IT things, like I don't care. Like, but understand that that's where your customers are at. In fact, if we were to look at your customers, it's going to look something like this. If I were to draw a bell curve of your customers, right? There's the majority of the customers in the middle here, but on the left side, this little bit right here, so about 10%, that little bit on the left side before it gets into the big bell, that's what I call the know or care graph. That's your percentage of customers that know what you're talking about or even care to know what you're talking about. And there's a few, but most don't know, most don't care. So we have to make it simple. We have to focus on the bell of the curve, this group right here. That's where our efforts need to be so that customers understand us. And so what we want to do is with these complicated topics, we want to use an analogy. What the heck's an analogy? Now you're throwing words at me. Well, the analogy is use something the customer already knows about to explain the thing they don't know about, right? I didn't know about cache, but I do know about junk drawers. Okay, most people do. And so we use that topic to explain the complicated topic. Often, when I'm talking with a company or a sales team, I'll talk about a water slide when I talk about sales process. And I'll say a sales process needs to be like a water slide. It should take no effort for the customer to get started, no effort to go through the corners, and you end up in the exact same place every single time. That's what a good sales process is. And my job as a sales coach is to find anywhere there's resistance, that it's hard to start or hard to get through the corners, or we're not ending up in the same place every time. My job is to help find those and make that water slide run smooth. That's a good example because we say sales process all the time, but do we really know what a sales process is? All the things that go into it and what it should be. But we do know about a water slide. We get that. It takes no effort to start, no effort to go through the corners. You end up in the same place every single time. Now, when I started selling, I've shared before that my first sales job was used Subarus, right? And Subaru was unique because they had the boxer engine. What the heck does that mean to a customer, though? Nothing. It means absolutely nothing unless you're a Subaru enthusiast, one of those 10% on the bell curve that knows or even cares to know, right? But it's a big selling point. It differentiates the product. So the boxer engine, it's a smoother engine because the pistons go side to side like a boxer punching his gloves. And I would motion my hands like a boxer punching his gloves so that the customer could visually see it versus like in a V. In a V, it's creating forces pushing to the outside. Whereas with the boxer engine, they counter each other. So it's a smoother running engine, less wobble. Now, in other industries, you have the same thing. If we're talking about sewers, like a blocked main line, right? Maybe there's roots getting into that main line. Why is that a bad thing? Couldn't we just clear those roots out? Well, it's a lot like McDonald's, right? Those roots have had a taste of that water, and that's the good water. That's like McDonald's right there, and they want to get more McDonald's. And so they're going to keep coming back. In fact, they're going to come back bigger and badder, right? And the more roots that keep getting in there, that's what's going to break apart your main line. And eventually you're going to have to dig up and replace the whole thing. So you can't just cut them out of there. A belly in sewer. Belly is another one. So a common term is a belly. What the heck is a belly? Well, a belly is like when your main line bends and there's a pool at the bottom. Well, that doesn't sound so bad. I like pools, right? Well, this pool is like the bottom of a water slide, right? Like when you go through a water slide and you hit that pool at the bottom, what happens? You stop. Exactly. You don't want that to stop on a main line because when you hit the bottom of the pool and it stops, it starts to clog up the main line and then it backs up into your home. These are all things that we can take complicated topics and make them simple. Ductwork. Maybe we work in HVAC. Ductwork. What is the ductwork? I see it all the time, right? But you could compare it to the lungs. It's like the lungs. It moves the air. And when those ducts get dirty or they're leaking or they're restricted, it's like breathing with one nostril plugged. I hate when that happens. I hate breathing through one nostril. People understand that. People are going to get that. So the analogy is what creates the pictures in the customer's head. If we can use our words to create pictures in the customer's head, that's going to create emotions, buying emotions of, I want that thing. Because now it's tangible. Now I get it. I understand it now. I won't buy anything that I don't understand. So if you can break it down and make it simple where others can't, I'll buy from you because I get what I'm buying. I don't want a plug nostril. I want to buy clear ducts. So I have an exercise for you today. Here's what you can do with this. So here, what I want you to do, I want you to create a list of all of the complicated terminology. Okay. And I want you to really like remember what it's like to not be in your industry. Because the problem is we've been in our industry too long and we know these things and they seem simple to us, but to somebody outside the industry, these things aren't as simple. I worked with a company one time and the CEO went on a rant about selling tires. And he's like, what is there to know about tires? They're black, they're round. What else do you need to know? He'd been working too long in tires. He didn't remember how complicated just tires could be, the different kinds of tires, different ratings, different sizes, different areas of the country you use them. Like there's so many things that go into a good set of tires, and he didn't remember that. And so I want you to, number one, create a list. But then what I want you to do, I want you to, I want you to test that list. I want you to run it by somebody not in the industry, somebody that you trust, and tell them what you're doing too, because you don't want to make them feel dumb. Like, well, do you know what this is? Do you know what that is? Like, tell them what you're doing, right? Like, hey, you're not in my industry, so I'm too close to it. I need you to help me determine, like, do you know what these things are? Do you know what a belly is? Do you know? Ask them, okay? And for that, I always use my wife for this, right? Like a sales process or something involved in sales. I'll usually call my wife and I'll say, like, well, How would you react in that situation? How would this work on you? Would you feel this is salesy? Would you feel this is a good use of your time? My wife is a great litmus test. I test everything on her. She hates it, but she loves helping me. So use somebody else to test your list, but create that list of all of the complicated terminology you have in your industry. Then number two, what I want you to do is build analogies around those. Come up with something simple that we use in everyday life that would relate to customers. So if I compare it, like the cash and the junk drawer, they'll get it. They'll understand what that is now. And then what I want you to do, I want you to take that back to that person again, that person you trust outside the industry, and run it by them with those analogies. See if it helps make it simpler for them to understand. And if it does, you hit the jackpot. There you go. Then start using that in the field. Number three is start using it in the field. And what I want you to remember too is assume most customers are here, the big part of the bell curve, because they are. That's where most customers are. And it's real easy if we aim here and then we identify, hey, this person knows everything about my industry. Well, you can shift real easy to that 10% that do know what you're talking about. But if I start here and make it complicated, I can't shift the other way. I can't shift to the person who doesn't know about it because it's too late. I made them feel dumb now. I made them feel stupid. And if I make my customer feel stupid, they're not going to buy from me. So start using this in the field. Number one, make a list. Number two, create the analogies. And number three, start using it in the field. Words equals pictures equals emotions. That was today's question of the day. Follow on major streaming platforms, like and rate us. If you have a question, reach out to me either on social media or email. Both are going to be listed in the show description. Let's get your questions answered. Or if you're a Nexstar member, schedule a call with me and we can address this one-on-one with your specific situation. I'm Coach Chris. We'll see you tomorrow.